Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fantasy football fans around the world. I am Adam, aka WX Fan, WX Fan 21, joined by Charlie, aka FF Toilet Ninja, aka someone who's going to get his team's beat on Sunday. I had to change clothes for this, chat. I'd like to have you know, and listeners out there, I had to change clothes for this. This guy wanted me to go put on a Patriots jersey. I'm like, the only one I have is a really old Tom Brady jersey from like back when Reebok was still doing it and not Nike. Charlie, what's happening?
Hey, man, I'm just saying, we got to get ready, man. Our teams are having a sausage fest Sunday morning. It's going to be great. I'm so excited about it.
The Colts are going to win by like $1 billion, and we're going to
continue
to tank Harrison.
I'm excited.
Hey,
we're
going to continue to tank for. You see that number, everyone, in his jersey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be drafting his son come the 2024 NFL draft. With the way we look, we're going to have one of the top 3 picks.
You're switching teams? You're coming over to the Colts?
No,
because we're getting it.
No, see, Harrison Jr. is coming to the Pats.
Because while we don't look bad, we're still losing.
Harrison Jr. is coming to the Pats. Just accept it. Just accept it.
I don't know, man. I'm actually really worried that he's going to the Bears.
Accept it.
Because they're going to have the first and second pick.
Listen, if it really wouldn't surprise me in the least if Williams, May, and Harrison are like, oh, the Bears had the first 2 picks. Yeah, we elect to stay for the 2024 season.
Right.
Because that organization is poorly run. And the problem is by the time they have to declare for the draft, obviously go through the entire process, the entire NFL draft process, we're not going to have NFL free agency. We don't know exactly how far the Bears are going to go through. I'm assuming Eberflus is gone. Ryan Poles is gone. They're going to have to clean house if they want those two to come out their junior year. And that's not being wrong. That's how freaking good they are.
Hey,
I wrong?
No. I mean, it's entirely in the realm of possibility.
If you're Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Marvin Harrison, let's just have a conversation before we get into this slate. If you're those big 3, and you're sitting up there and you see the Bears with 2 of the top 3 picks, wouldn't you want to go back to school and try getting some of that NIL money? You don't have to come out right away. You can go play another year and go get some more of the NIL money.
I don't know, man. You never know. I mean, football's a tough sport, man.
It's also possible Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison completely changed that Bears team around. You add Caleb Williams with Marvin Harrison and DJ Moore, Roschon Johnson. Just draft some offensive linemen, sign some offensive linemen. You just traded for Montez Sweater. You just signed a 4-year, $98 million deal. How is this a bad thing also? Like, you have to look at the bigger picture, so to speak.
I mean, I think, like, if I've got the shot to go in the NFL and I'm going to be a top 5 pick, I'm taking my shot when I get it.
Absolutely.
Taking my shot when I get it, because you ain't promised tomorrow.
100%. What do you say we get into this slate? Because that is coming up, not tomorrow, but it's coming up on Sunday.
Let's do it.
Also, real quickly, a nice recap from last week. I was traveling on Sunday for a conference for the career field that I'm in. So I had a very limited player pool come Saturday night. I've said it before. Shout out to my friends at the Raise the Roof Discord, the RTR Discord. Every Saturday night we go over and break down and spend hours. We spend a couple hours breaking down every game on the main slate. We crushed again. I had like a 40-some-odd person player pool, Charlie. Extremely small for the amount of guys I normally play. But I felt really good about going into it. I 6x'd what I came in. I came in top 100 in the large field GPP.
Nice.
If CeeDee Lamb gets that touchdown, there's a good chance I'm top 50.
Heck yeah.
I crushed. Not as much as some of the other folks in the chat that crushed. Just absolutely outstanding week. So we're getting better and better as the season goes along. Now we're going to talk about some interesting stats that Charlie has that kind of, you know, I'm going to exaggerate a bit, but I'm happy I was sitting down for. Because we're going to talk about a team coming up in the 1 o'clock slate. We're going to talk about their quarterbacks here, and I really like one of the quarterbacks this week who's cheap. And now I might have another way, if I want to put him with a double stack, a way to get different that maybe no one's on, because people are going to assume a certain stat. And because they're going to assume that stat, it might give us the leverage that we need. So what do you say, Charlie? Any thoughts? How'd last week go for you? I know you had a really good lineup last week.
I did. I had a great lineup. I mean, I ended up with, I scored 169 on that lineup, which was my lineup with my Dak and CD stack.
Yep.
And I played it in all the wrong contests.
But you also had, I mean, like, again, it's also about getting on the right plays. You had Cade Otton in that lineup.
I did. And that paid off real well. It was a great lineup.
Yep.
But see, sometimes you just gotta take the risk. You know, I should have I should have put that one in a big money contest. I did not.
It's all good.
It's all right.
Well, you know what? We're gonna get back at it this week. So let's get right into it. We're gonna start off right at the top. We're gonna go with the top 2 quarterbacks on the week, and then I really wanted to have a discussion on the next 2 in Stroud and Burrow that I think is a really interesting discussion. But let's start off with Lamar Jackson at home facing the Cleveland Browns and Justin Herbert at home facing the Detroit Lions. $8K for Jackson, $7,700 for Herbert. I'm going to have no Jackson this week against the best defense in the NFL. Via metrics this year, Cleveland has insane metrics. They are some of the best in DVOA at all positions. They have been lights out this year. And Baltimore's defense has been really good too. And it's a divisional matchup. It's an AFC North divisional matchup. Some of those games, we saw Pittsburgh and Baltimore for how many years and still go at it. These games can be physical. They can be slogfests. I have no interest in Lamar Jackson this week. None.
Yeah, I don't have much interest in this game, really. I mean, it might actually be pretty good. This might be like a slobber knocker of a game for real. Like,
Thank you, Jim Ross.
It might be a good one. But for fantasy purposes, I don't think there's a lot of fantasy output here. I mean, maybe if you want to take a shot on, Ford or maybe Gus or something, depending on what they're priced at. I haven't even looked at anybody in this game hardly.
Right.
And I'm definitely not paying up for Jackson in this game. Like, there's just, even if he has a decent game, there's going to be QBs cheaper that put up more points this week.
Correct. I've got no interest in playing Jackson against the, arguably the best defense in the NFL. Well, again, arguably because the stats say so, the metrics say so. So I had no interest in Jackson. You get no interest in Jackson. Let's talk about someone else that I've got slight interest in that I don't know if I'm going to be on, and that's Justin Herbert at home versus the Detroit Lions. That defense has been better. I have slight interest in Justin Herbert this week.
Yeah, I like Herbert a little bit. I don't like his price that much, but look, Detroit is a studly offense right now. They really are. And they're going to come out and they're going to put up points. They're getting David Montgomery back. Going to open up more for everybody on that team. So I love, this is a juicy game. I love this game. Like, this is going to be a great fantasy game. But I think just by sheer game script, Herbert's going to be forced to throw a lot. And may get a lot of dump offs as well to Eckler. A lot of little short passes and all. And, he can always break one free. And that's good. So I like Herbert. I like Herbert a lot more than Jackson.
Agreed.
7,700 kind of scares me away a little bit. So I'm not going to have a whole bunch of shares of it.
I agree with you. I like him. I think he's initially going to be in my player pool, but like I said, I'm not making my player pool really until after Saturday night when my friends and I are all done chatting about the slate, and I really hear everyone's process and thinking. Right now, I know my process and thinking is I like Herbert. Like you could easily say game script is Herbert, Eckler, let's say Keenan Allen,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I think that'd be a
And you
good
just
assumption.
think the Detroit run game is going to destroy this Chargers lack of a run defense, right? Like that could easily be it. Montgomery could go off. It could be Montgomery and Gibbs.
Oh,
And if
I
those
think
two for
that.
Detroit are destroying, then yeah, Herbert is going to have to, like you said, pass more.
Well, I don't even. I think that I like Goff a lot in this game. To be honest with you, I think that Detroit's going to come out throwing it. Montgomery coming back opens up more plays for them. But
We'll, we'll,
I'm
we'll get
saying,
the
man,
Goff. We'll get the
I think
Goff.
that this one now here's the thing though. Let me preface this real quick.
Yeah, hang on.
Almost every
Let me just lean back. Let me get comfortable. I get a drink. Tell us
almost
the story.
every single game this season that the vast majority has felt is going to be a barn burner has not been. It sucks. Scoring total offense is completely down at its lowest point in like 20 years, just about. It's
Rude.
ridiculous. Like I think it goes back to like 2007 or something like that. It's nuts. So there's always the chance that we are wrong about this, but this game has got shootout in the first half written all over it because I think Detroit is going to come out slinging. And then, but with Montgomery and Gibbs performing, Montgomery back, it opens up so much because Chargers are going to have to pay attention. You cannot sell out on anything against this Detroit offense. So I think that's why. I mean, I'm just they're just going to be begging for Justin Herbert to have to throw it all day long to keep.
Listen, this is the
Hey,
late game hammer.
love it. I love this game. It's gonna be so
This
much
is
fun
the
to watch.
late game hammer. You want PMR in the late games. Talk about this from time to time. You want the late game hammer. I don't think I can say that enough. And my apologies as I go back and Sengen's starting. F. There goes one of my 3 lineups. So happy I got off of that for somebody else. Anyway, sorry. Basketball also is happening while we make with the recordings. This game is at a 48.5. Would not surprise me if this was one spot has it at a 49. This is the game you want exposure to. We'll talk about the Falcons and Cardinals, but of the 4 games in the late window, this is the late game hammer that I would want. We'll talk about the Commanders and Seahawks. We'll talk about the Falcons, Cardinals. Talk about how much you want to pay $4,400 for the Cowboys defense. I can't believe I just said that.
I'm okay with that.
This is the game I want to have exposure to. I don't know how much I'm going to have with CJ Stroud. Actually, with Justin Herbert. I may get the volume through his pass catchers and through Austin Eckler. I don't know yet. There's value that we're going to talk about. We'll talk about the Cincinnati value at the wide receivers when we get there. We'll talk about some of the other value on this slate. We'll talk about how this is a Debo week. We'll get there, but let's get off Herbert. Again, he'll be in my player pool initially. Let's talk about probably one of the biggest talking points of this entire slate. CJ Stroud is 6,900. Joe Burrow is 6,800. Houston has already ruled out. Houston's already ruled out Collins and Pierce. Cincinnati's already ruled out T. Higgins.
Yep. And then you've got what is it? Woods possibly coming back. And
Bobby Trees?
Yeah, Bobby Trees. Yeah.
Is Bobby Trees coming back? This game's at a 47 total, by the way.
He's been cleared. But he's listed as questionable. It's up in the last I heard it was up in the air whether he would play or not. But yeah, I like Noah Brown. He was good
Again,
last
we'll
week.
get
He's gonna
there
be
when we
good
get to the
again.
wide receivers, but
And Jamar Chase is banged up. So
yep.
I don't know. I prefer the run games for both of these teams in this matchup,
I'm
but
concerned about these two now with the injuries.
if they tell me, Sunday morning, if they're like, "Oh, Chase is good to go," then I may have some shares of Burrow,
Yeah,
but
if
I'm
there's
not
no
gonna be on
limitation
Stroud.
on Chase, fine.
Yeah. So Cincinnati is getting better and better every week in all phases of the game.
That defense has gotten better.
They are dude,
At least it
I'm
feels
telling
like
you,
it.
man, Cincinnati's a Super Bowl contender. Seriously. They're getting healthier other than, sans T. Higgins, but,
Can we
for the
get some
most
F's
part,
in the chat for the Bengals, please?
they are getting better, and it's just they're getting more and more shut
Bengals.
down on defense, and they're getting more and more scoring on offense. So, I don't know. I
Bengals.
think this is a big test for Stroud, really. This
This
is
is
a
a big
game. He gonna
test.
play a contender, a
Now look,
real contender.
the Bengals aren't a crazy offense, and no F's in the chat for the Bengals. I'm just kidding. They're a legitimate Super Bowl contender, but that defense is middle of the pack, getting better. They're not an elite defense. I do not want to be off CJ Stroud on another 400 plus yard throwing week. As that's probably what he's going to have to do because he's only got Devin Singletary in the backfield.
Yep, Pierce is out again.
That's it.
I feel bad for people that drafted Pierce in their season long.
I faded him everywhere.
I have him in one league. That is it.
Yep. So I think
Ugh.
Stroud and Burrow, I would lean Burrow over Stroud. Stroud is safer based on the situation. No Damian Pierce, no Nico Collins. All they have is Devin Singletary again. We'll talk about the Houston running backs when we get to the running back section. Stroud to Dell, Noah Brown. If Robert Woods is back, Robert Woods. Maybe Xavier Washington gets involved if Woods is out, or Mechie gets involved. Dalton Schultz, I don't see a situation where Houston where Devin Singletary comes away looking like the best running back on the week against the Cincinnati defense.
Mm-mm.
I don't know I'm sure that is in the range of outcomes because anything's possible. But I think Stroud is going to have to throw to be competitive. So if you want to go based on that, Stroud is going to have an amazing game script.
Yeah, it's possible. I think this is the game he cracks under pressure, personally. But I mean, I'll probably end up using him somewhere, just if the numbers fit right. But I'm definitely taking Burrow over him.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's possible.
I feel like this week's a week for to find a little value in QB.
We'll get there. Dak Prescott against the Giants. He's not going to have to do much.
No.
It might play Dak Prescott. Good play this week. Is there anything else that we have to say other than Dak Prescott's a good play this week? Play him.
Giant.
Or don't play him. He's 6,700. He has to get there, but you're asking the Giants with Tommy DeVito a quarterback to get there against the Dallas defense. With all due respect to Tommy DeVito, it's the Dallas defense.
Pretty sure the Cowboys can just hand this ball off to Pollard for most of the game and still win.
We'll get there.
I'm just saying. I'm agreeing
very
with you.
Interesting stuff about Dowdle.
I don't think that Prescott is going to have a whole lot of play this week.
No. So again, we'll see. I don't think Prescott's got to do a lot. I don't know if Lamb's going to have to do a lot. So again, we will see. Jared Goff is my favorite quarterback play on the entire slate.
Absolutely. He's a good play this week.
Jared Goff is 6,400 against the Chargers defense in a game where he's got Montgomery back. St. Brown's going to go off. St. Brown is back. Jameson Williams might do things. Josh Reynolds seems to be more trusted. And let's just talk about this right now before we get into the cheaper quarterbacks, and I want to just run through them quickly. What the heck is Dan Campbell going to do now with how amazing Jahmyr Gibbs has looked with David Montgomery? Are you going right back to David Montgomery goat?
Yep. The game plan.
I think that scares me, but I do think David Montgomery, all jokes aside about David Montgomery goat, all jokes aside, David Montgomery's going to be the guy this week, I think, for Detroit.
I do too.
He will be in my player pool. I am going to fade Gibbs. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. I'm going to trust what we have seen all season from this team.
Yep.
And that does not make me feel good. I do not like wasting money. But if we go off of that, if it is Montgomery and Gibbs just goes right back into the passing game, this goes back to a 60-40 split. Can Gibbs still get there?
Yes.
Yes. But Gibbs is 7,000. Montgomery 6,900. Just look at this. Gibbs 7K. David Montgomery 6.9K. 7.1 for ETN. Just a lot of interesting prices. We'll get there at running back.
Look, I don't think you can go wrong with anybody in Detroit.
I know Goff isn't at home. I know that. I don't care. This team is I'm going to say it, and this feels weird saying. This team is elite.
No, they're still the Lions. But they are good. I said it.
They are again, good. Like I said, that felt weird to say. The Detroit Lions are elite this season.
They're fun to watch, man. We put them on. I'll switch between the Colts game and the Lions game a lot. Just AJ, he loves him Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do too, though. I mean, they're fun to watch. They really are.
They are.
Sam Laporta, that guy's awesome. That's a football player right there.
Yeah, I'm going to have a ridiculous amount of Jared Goff this week. I'm probably going to. I try capping my quarterbacks. I try having about 5 or so, maybe 6 if there are a lot I like. But
Goff is one of my 2 guys this week.
Yeah, I try having about 5 quarterbacks and limiting them all to about 25% max, so I can get exposure to everyone that I like that I know I'm on, and then correlating with their pass catches, trying to correlate with a run back, like trying to keep a very tight core and a 20 max. I might push Goff up to a 40% max and just let wherever anyone else just lay on my 20 max. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my interest. But again, that's me. Let's just run through the rest of the quarterbacks real quick.
Goff's good this week.
He is. So you agree when factoring in price, Goff probably the best quarterback play on the slate? That's what I think.
Possibly.
Okay. Well,
I think there's one guy that may be a better value, but but Goff's going to get it done. That's the thing. There's no argument there. Goff's going to get it done this week, probably.
Yeah. Like for me, he's my favorite quarterback play on the slate, unless I hear something otherwise. Let's get into some more of this. Trevor Lawrence is 6K. I have zero interest in Trevor Lawrence versus the San Francisco defense. Zero interest whatsoever. There were way better spots this week. If this was a playoff game, and if you would have told me, hey, Adam, it's only a 4-game slate, it's the playoffs, yeah, I'd be interested in Trevor Lawrence then. Not with Jared Goff, not with some of these other plays that we're going to talk about. Just there were better spots and better defensive matchups that I want to target than Lawrence against the 49ers. That being said, if you're, entering 100-plus lineups or 150 max, I would have some exposure to Trevor Lawrence because he can get it done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, T-Law, he can do it. And really, I mean, San Francisco, look, that defense is going to look a little different now, so it may be even better. But they've allowed
Think
some big
about what
plays
you
to
just said.
wide
It
receivers.
may be even better.
I know. So like, we'll see. I think at his price though, I think he's kind of priced out this week.
Yeah. All right. Quarterbacks that I like, and then we can go into the quarterbacks you like, and we'll head to running back. Sam Howell, 5,900. Geno Smith,
Absolutely.
58. Brock Purdy, 57. Will Levis, 53. My second favorite quarterback of the week is Baker Mayfield, $5,100.
Huh.
I said it. Not ashamed of it. I'm going against the Tennessee pass funnel.
It's not though anymore.
This is what I've been waiting to talk about.
It's not. There's some things. There's some changes going on
Charlie,
in the
take it
NFL,
away,
man.
because when Charlie told me this, when we were doing pre-show, and he teased this earlier into the day when we were talking, this is the stats I've been waiting to hear.
All right.
Tennessee defense versus running backs and wide receivers. Go.
So here's the thing. Tennessee has traditionally been very, very, very good against the run. And they're still decent against the run. But through the course of this season, they have slowly progressed from being absolutely terrible against the pass and dynamic against the run to somewhere in the middle. And it is continuing in this direction towards the middle. They are progressively, and especially over the last 4 games, getting better and better against the pass and worse against the run. Now, I'm not saying that it's a thing where if you've got a good running back, they're not going to have a great game against Tennessee. That is still completely possible. But Tennessee's run defense, or their run defense is getting weak to the point where we can't just shut it out. If you have a good running back, a viable running back, I think is how I put it before, a viable running back, they can score points against Tennessee. On the flip side of that, over the last 4 games, they've progressively gotten better and they've gotten healthier with their corners and everything a little bit. I think they have one new injury this week, which may come into play, but they are also starting to lock down on receivers, and it is not a gimme anymore, and it hasn't been that you are going to blow up with fantasy points with your receiver against Tennessee. And there's a couple of others. Did you want to get into the other 2 teams that are trending in that same way?
No, because neither of them are really applicable here to this slate.
Okay.
I find it interesting. So the Titans this season, in 8 games played, okay, 1,423 receiving yards allowed and 7 touchdowns. That's not top 10 worst in the league.
No.
It's somewhere in that 10 to 15 range.
And they were porous at the beginning of the season. Those stats are weighted. There has been some crazy games throughout the course of the season, especially early on, that have weighted a lot of stats that I feel those stats are not being pointed out enough or not being considered enough when people, not necessarily saying us or anything, but when people are building their lineups.
So
like there's several.
Let me just, they're the 12th worst in the league versus opposing wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They are no longer the worst in the league. You want to know the shocking one? The Eagles are the worst. Have a lot of the most receiving yards of the league.
Yeah, they're bad. But that's the thing now. They are one of the best defenses against the run. And it's going to continue to be that way. And that's some dogs, man.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, like, this is something to consider. Like, Tennessee Titans are middle of the pack this year versus running backs. This is no longer the defense that we can just target anymore. They're middle of the pack and getting better at receiving. Now, I'm still going to believe in the
that's what we have to watch.
Several year plus sample size we have of how bad Tennessee are versus the pass. But at 5,100, I don't need Mayfield to do a lot. But knowing the running back stuff, that running back stuff, that makes me like Rashard White more. So Baker, now rather than just stacking a pass catcher, stack it with Rashard White, who he knows the receiving back, and now stack him with a pass catcher. That's going to be unique for a large field GPP. My opinion.
Yeah. I think White, we'll get to the running backs, but he's good. He's in play.
Yep.
He
All right.
He may be in play for a while.
Yeah. What are your favorite quarterbacks under 6K this week?
I love Sam Howell this week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have all kinds of Sam Howell all over the place. I think he's
excellent.
I think he's the best value in the draft this week. At 5,900, he's got the potential. I know Seattle, and we can say the same thing about Seattle with their pass. It's progressively getting better on their pass defense, but they're still pretty weak. And dude, I mean, this is Washington wants to throw the ball. I mean, they do. They want to throw the ball, and they're really not that bad at it.
You're not running on Seattle. You're not running on Seattle.
No, it's crazy. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Washington. There's only one game where Washington has lost by more than 10 points, and you can cut that down. If you take that 10-point loss out, most of their games are within 5 points. So
that's insane. They're keeping it competitive.
They're in it. Yeah, they're throwing to stay in it.
Yep.
So, Howell's getting it done. And at 5,900, I think that's a good price for some good points. What I think has potential to be top 3 fantasy points QB this week. I also will take a big shot on Brock Purdy at 5,700.
Yep.
Jacksonville is not good at outside receivers, and he's got 2 guys. He's got 3 guys if you include Evan Ingram that are really, really good at catching the ball. If y'all hadn't noticed, I hate to say that about the Jaguars because they're the Jags, but yeah, man.
Sounds like them and the Commanders are bad against perimeter wide receivers. We'll get there. We'll talk about DK Metcalf. Any other quarterbacks? I want to get into running backs.
I won't, be mad if you take shots on Levis this week.
Yep.
A good matchup.
Is showing to be good.
Might be a D-Hop game.
Good. Yep. The Tampa Bay pass funnel. All right, let's get into it. It's running back time.
Oh, but I meant George Kittle, not Evan Ingram. But he's got
there you go.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, $9,200. Charlie.
He's so expensive.
Charlie, flow chart. Is Christian McCaffrey on the slate?
I mean,
Is he on the slate?
Yeah.
We play Christian McCaffrey. Moving on.
Maybe.
We don't stop playing someone that continually has a 1 touchdown every single bleeping game.
Yeah.
$9,200, though, is a lot to ask for against the Jags defense. I got to dig into some of the other stats more, but like the Jags this year versus running backs, the best in the league at rushing running backs. So they've only allowed 449 rushing yards versus opposing running backs and 2 rushing touchdowns. However, against receiving running backs, they've allowed the 4th most receiving yards versus opposing running backs, but no receiving touchdowns. That could change this week.
Yeah.
Going back to Brock Purdy, we'll get in the Deebo Samuel. Christian McCaffrey, once again, yet in play.
Yeah, I just don't like his price.
I don't either. That's Christian McCaffrey.
I know.
First
I like
ballot
some
Hall of
value
Famer.
plays. I like some value plays, and I think there's 2 guys on the slate that can that have a good shot at outscoring him this week.
Yep. Let's talk about the 2 8K running backs, Austin Eckler and Alvin Kamara. I'm fine with Eckler. I'm staying away from Kamara.
Yeah. Eckler's got to be involved in the offense for that offense to score points. He's 8,400. There may be some better guys that are a little cheaper this week, but he's not a bad play. He can always get you 20 points or more. So yeah, I'm with you on Kamara. I don't know. It may be not as much gas in the tank, maybe for Kamara, coming off of not having played, and all being acclimated and stuff. Maybe that's wearing on him a little bit because he seems to be a little out of gas. That or the team that he played last week is just getting better against the run. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We will see. In the meantime, we take
Hill
a look.
led them in rushing last week. The Saints. I'm just saying. These are the things people need to be aware of. There may be. I don't know if it's Kamara or I don't know if it's the defense. I don't know this game, but he seems to be on a little bit of a decline.
It sounds terrible to say. Let's see.
I tell you who I like over in here.
I'm not playing Barkley and I'm not playing Henry. I'm just looking at this range and
right under those two.
Good run defense. Minnesota, I got to dig into them a bit more. Dallas, we know, is good against the run. Tampa Bay, we know, is good against the run. If you want to go Barkley at 7,700 because he's probably going to have a ridiculous amount of volume.
Yeah, they got to play hide the quarterback. Keep that in mind. They got to play hide the quarterback. They really got to play hide the quarterback. I mean, they got freaking Danny DeVito starting for them, so it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Right under that,
Barkley's going to be. It's a tough decision because we know how good Barkley is. He's going to get volume. He's in a really bad matchup.
I think he might get good pass volume this week. He may have to get good pass volume this week.
It's still Dallas.
Yeah, see, the running back on the other side of that ball might be a really good play this week.
Get there.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, I'd rather play Barkley than Eckler.
You think so?
An opportunity. Do we want to stop beating around the bush now and say that if Tony Pollard doesn't do it this week, we're done and we never play him again in DFS?
No, I'm not because I like some of their matchups coming up, and he's going to do it one week. And here's the thing about that is I feel like a lot of people are probably already at that point. So even though Tony Pollard has a great matchup this week, and the game script should just lend to him getting a whole bunch of opportunity, he may not be chalked.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm interested in it.
Tony Pollard, here's how I'm looking at it this week. If Tony Pollard does not get it done this week, I'm done in DFS with him. I took the very bold strategy of saying he's a fade for me in season long. Paying off really well for me.
Yeah, he hasn't been
great. It's the Giants' run defense.
Yep.
I'm going to pair Tony Pollard with the Dallas defense. I am concerned about Tony Pollard. I do not feel good about the play. I don't feel safe about the floor. I don't feel good about a ceiling. But it's one of the best matchups this week. He's 7,300. He gets the opportunity. He gets the volume. Oops, maybe he doesn't get the volume, but he's getting pass work. He's not producing. He's been bad. The stats tell us he's been bad. Rico Dowdle is 4,300, not getting the volume, not getting the targets.
Now, they've been leaning on the passing game.
I don't know how. Look, I want to have a lot of the Dallas defense. I really, really do. I am very concerned about Pollard. Very, very concerned.
I'm really not this week.
I don't like wasting money.
Yeah.
Pollard has not performed. One game over 20 DraftKings points this season. You want to give him week 2, 19.9 points, we'll give him 20. 18.1, 9, 9.4, 17, 6.5, 9.3. He's not getting it done. Now you can say New England run defense. That was a blowout game, and he had 11 opportunities. Blowout game versus San Francisco, 8 opportunities. Again, wrong blowout. 15 opportunities against the Chargers. The Chargers, who we just talked about, we want to play Montgomery against, and we're going to get to here in a couple minutes, or with about a minute or so. 17 points. That's not getting it done.
Nope.
7,300. I need him to have 25 plus. I'm concerned. Rams, decent run defense. Philly. It's Philly. I understand he's played really tough matchups. Cannot have that against the Giants. And I am concerned. I don't want to have an unhealthy amount of the Dallas defense, but it's the Giants. And the Dallas defense is $4,400 this week. I want to play Tony Pollard and pair him with the Dallas defense. And I'm hoping this is the week Pollard goes off for 100 plus rushing and 2+ touchdowns. I'm hoping that this is the week. Because if Pollard doesn't do it this week, he didn't really do it against the Chargers. Didn't have a touchdown. Pollard doesn't do it this week, hit the panic button. Abort. Don't play him. Fade. Don't care. I've made a lot of money this year by not playing Tony Pollard. Or rather, I have not lost a lot of money by playing Tony Pollard over this past season. I think it's worth the conversation. I really do. Charlie's staring at me like I must have like 3 heads thinking this way, whatever. Like, just don't galaxy brain it. Play Tony Pollard.
I'm telling you, man, sometimes you just got to have faith. Like, I think he's going to have a good game because this may actually not be a very high-scoring game just because it doesn't have to be. I think there's going to be a lot of just give this guy the ball and let him run the clock down.
How is it not 40-0 at the half?
And I feel like there's a couple more matchups along the way this season before it's over where I may end up saying the same thing about Pollard. But I'm interested to see how he does. But I'm taking chances on him this week. I really am.
Tony Pollard right now
I like
is
him.
coming in.
There's a couple of guys I like more, but I like him.
Pollard is coming in at the 3rd highest projected running back on the slate in terms of ownership. Projected ownership.
But that's projected. But that's because people who know what they're talking about are making the projection. Not everybody playing knows what they're talking about.
True, but I'm just expressing the concern.
Yeah.
It's a concern. Travis Etienne is fine against the 49ers. Here we go. We teased it before, and I want to go through this very quickly because we have spent a lot of time already, and I do not want to have this be an hour-and-a-half podcast.
Yeah, and I like the next 5 guys, so you know.
Jahmyr Gibbs is $7K. Montgomery is $6,900. Everything should be saying to play Gibbs. 26 opportunities against the Las Vegas Raiders. He absolutely crushed 32.9 fantasy points at Baltimore, which is a really good defense where the Lions couldn't put up anything. 10 targets, 9 receptions. Ran for a touchdown, 27.6 DraftKings points. Now David Montgomery is back. You want a reminder what David Montgomery this season has done? Just look at the screen.
Yeah.
13.4, 13.4, 37.1, 23.9. The 4.3 was the game he got injured.
Yep. He's good.
David Montgomery's attempts. Okay? Attempts. 21, 16. 32, 19. Had some targets in there too. But we know Gibbs is the pass catcher.
Yep.
I'm going to go right back to the well on David Montgomery. And I'm going to fade Gibbs and I'm going to go Montgomery, and that's my stand this week. I shouldn't be fading Gibbs. It's possible Gibbs already overtook Montgomery. We said it. If I like Gibbs is too talented not to overtake him.
I don't know, man. I don't know because see, everybody is, a lot of people think that, but I I feel like they went and they got this guy, and they went and they got this guy for a reason, and they've told us who the Thunder and Lightning is, and I think that Thunder stays Thunder and Lightning stays Lightning. Well,
Yeah.
they've told us all season and in preseason, this is what we're gonna do. We had these 2 guys last season. We got rid of them. We found 2 guys that are both better than those 2 guys, and we're gonna use them the exact same way.
Yep. And then you know
Because
what?
the offense
5-2.
works that way.
They're 5-2. What
Yep.
they're doing is working.
Exactly.
I'm going right back to the well on David Montgomery. He's the between the tackles
So
runner.
glad to have him back.
Yep. Gibbs is the pass catcher. I'm fading Gibbs. I'm playing Montgomery. I don't feel good about it. I should be all in on Gibbs based on the production. I'm going to trust what this team has done, and I'm going to trust that they're going to go right back to the well. That Dan Campbell's going right back to the well on Montgomery, and Gibbs is going to be relegated back to 30 to 40% usage.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
I think it's going to be that way. I'll be surprised. I'll be very surprised if it's not that way. I think Gibbs has earned a little bit larger share than what he had at the very beginning of the season if we look back to the first
We
2
think
games.
so.
But I feel like they had a game plan. They knew what they were doing. It's working. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, we think so, Charlie. We think so. The
Yeah.
stats say it. The talent says it. The draft capital says it.
Yep.
Everything that should say it should say Montgomery has lost the job. Gibbs looks better. They're not going to go that way.
No. Besides,
They
they'll
know
lose your
now
job
what
to
they have
injury.
in Gibbs. Maybe. Excuse me. And that's why there's a mute button. Excuse me. Maybe they're going to save Gibbs for the playoffs and unleash him there. And say, Montgomery, take a back seat. It's Gibbs time.
Maybe.
I'm going right back to the well. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going back to the well on David Montgomery. What are you doing with Gibbs and Montgomery? And then I want to run through the rest of them because there's one other play
I'm
really
taking
love in this
Montgomery.
range.
I'm taking Montgomery all day long. But look, if you want to find a way to put Gibbs and Montgomery both in a lineup, like seriously, that may not be a terrible idea. There's the potential that both of these guys score 20-plus fantasy points. That really, really could happen because Gibbs is really good at pass catching and he can break 1 or 2 off. Montgomery is going to probably get a ton of volume. But that's what I think, and that's what the Lions have told us all season long. So,
FYI, David
Montgomery
Montgomery's coming in at sub 5% ownership, projected ownership right now. Gibbs at over 5%. They're not apart by much, but Gibbs is getting more ownership right now than Montgomery.
Yeah.
So
we'll see, though.
All right. Do you want it?
It won't. If that flip flops by Sunday morning, that I don't think that would shock anyone.
You want to get into our favorite running back play of the week, or one of them?
Which one?
It's Aaron Jones season.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Jones.
I'm all about it. Look, I'll just say
the running back
right here
versus Pittsburgh. Play the running back versus Pittsburgh.
Yep, and he's a little. I hope he's a little bit healthier. Seems a little bit healthier. He had a tag on him this week during practice, but he's already cleared that, and he looked a lot better last week. So I dig it. We've seen what he can do. I mean, he's getting, maybe to the twilight of his career, but he's got some games left in him, at least this season.
Yep.
So I think this is a really good one. I like these guys. All these guys right in this area. I like them.
For me, it's probably Montgomery and Jones. Kenneth Walker's fine. Joe Mixon is fine.
I love
Mixon. It beforehand. Just real quickly, why do you like Joe Mixon? And then I want to get to some other running backs on this slate because we are late on time.
T. Higgins is already out for the game. Chase is banged up. It does not sound like he's coming out 100% for Sunday's game. Cincinnati, a really good offense, is about to lean on their run game on a running back who, for the last couple of weeks in fantasy, has been really good. And he's going to probably get a bit more opportunity than he has. Houston, this is one of those teams that the first couple of weeks on this show, we were talking about, hey, it's a running back and they're going up against Houston. You better play them. Well, this is one of those times where this is a running back going up against Houston. And while they are progressing a bit better against the run, Joe Mixon is going to get so much opportunity that it's almost by default, I think, that he gets 20-plus points. And at his price, with him and Jones, I love those two guys in your two running back spots this week.
Yep. Cool. I'll have a little bit of interest in Mixon. I have no interest in Kenneth Walker, just with all due respect to Walker. I'm going to have Montgomery. I'm going to have Jones, maybe some Mixon.
I love Walker. Don't start him this week.
Right. Again, I have no problem with Walker. Walker's a great running back. Walker had a chest injury, practiced fully Thursday. According to, I texted out of that too fast. Walker chest practice fully Thursday. John Boyd of the CX official head support. Fine. He can stay healthy. That's fine. No Charbonnet value this week.
No,
let's get into someone we have mentioned already. Rashard White is $5,800.
Yeah. Good play.
But Adam, you skipped over Bijan. No, it's okay. So was an Arthur Smith. Play your best player.
He is, man. He's playing Algier.
Talk about Rashard White before I kick you off the show.
Oh, man. Rashad is continuing to trend more and more. His passing game prowess has gotten even better as the season has gone on. I really like this. He's starting to stack up points on a regular basis. His average, if you look at just his rushing numbers, it's a little scary. You're like, man, you guys really talking about this guy? Because he's averaging like under 4 yards a carry, I think. That may have gotten a little bit better over the last 2 weeks, but he's making his money in the pass game. He is the only running back on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but they apparently do not have any other running backs on their roster at all. It is just this guy. So if they want to run the ball or if they want to throw it to a running back, this is the guy who gets the call. That is starting to really pay off. And the thing is that his price is not really climbing that much. So he's a good play. And Tennessee is, as we've pointed out, just middle of the pack against fantasy running backs now.
Mm-hmm.
Good play. So glad I have him all over the place in season long.
Yep. Look, you're getting no complaints from me. So
those are really, I think we've covered pretty much the guys that I am gonna focus on. I might, I don't know.
Should we continue?
Let's do it. You want to go down? Is there anybody down here worth talking about?
Bijan Robinson. It's Arizona. If Arthur Smith screws this up, look, I'm sure Arthur Smith is a nice guy. Play your best bleeping player.
Arthur Smith doesn't care about your fantasy team.
I don't give a damn what Arthur Smith cares about. You drafted Bijan Robinson with a top 10 overall pick. You play your best player on your team.
Falcons still have a shot to get to the playoffs, so
I'm going to have Bijan Robinson in my player pool this week. I may have too much Bijan Robinson this week. Fine. Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris.
This is not for me.
DraftKings has the pricing right. Warren is the better running back right now. He just looks better. He looks more explosive. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with these two yet, but I want one of these two in my player pool. It's probably going to be Warren, and I don't feel good about it because he doesn't get as many opportunities. But Najee Harris is not getting it done. He looks bad.
Here's the thing, though. I have a hunch that I'm right. Pull up Warren. Let's see what his last 3 games.
You have a hunch that you're right.
Well, yeah.
He hasn't even said anything yet, and he's already telling himself he's right.
All right, let's see. 14, 7, and 10. Go. Let's pull up Najee. 15, 10, and 15. The last 3 games, Najee has scored more fantasy points in every game.
And he's looked worse on the field than Jalen Warren.
But he's still producing. I
He
mean, neither
looks
of them are
worse than
producing, but he's
Jalen Warren.
producing the point.
When is talent going to win out?
It's not in this offense. It's not with that coach.
Tomlin loves his workhorse. Your workhorse should be Jalen Warren. I'm probably going to have Najee Harris over Jalen Warren. I understand it's going to be chalky. Let me take a look at projected ownership. Right now, Najee Harris is coming in at 10.73% projected ownership. Jalen Warren is coming in at, where is it? Right around 5% projected ownership.
My thing is, I feel that Najee is starting to turn a corner a little bit, and Warren has plateaued.
I hope he does. I really hope Najee is turned a corner.
I think what we're seeing from Warren is all we're going to get because of the coaching and the games, the scheming. I really do. Now that he's not the more talented, I agree with you. He's probably the better running back. But that's just not how that team's set up. And it's the Steelers, man. They're hard-nosed. They're going to, if they're going to make changes, it probably won't be until late. That's a stubborn coach. They always have stubborn coaches.
Listen, sub 5. Yeah, listen, I don't want to rush us through this. We're at almost an hour. We don't even have the running backs yet, or wide receivers yet.
Let's hit up those wide receivers.
The only one else down here that we need to mention is Devin Singletary, Tyler Algier, and Rico Dowdle.
I'm probably sticking with the guys that we've talked about, to be honest.
I agree. People are going to probably want to flock to Singletary. I'm not doing it. I faded him last week, paid off. Algier, I'm slightly interested in, but I might just say I'm going to trust the talent. I'm playing Bijan. Smith needs to play Bijan because he's the best player on their team. And it's Arizona. Kyler Murray's is coming back.
Algier
and then obviously, again, just because Dowdle is 4,300 versus the Giants. If this game is over by halftime, Dowdle could be in as the backup running back. But that means someone else is smashed. So that's all I'm saying there. Any thoughts on that?
No, man.
All right.
Algier in the flex may not be bad. That'll help you get some guys, some of those higher dollar running backs in both of your spots that we talked about, along with some of these some of these wide receivers we're going to talk about, like St. Brown and some of these other big guys.
Where is my AJ Brown on this slate?
He's off because they're buying.
Rude.
It's all right. They don't count the buy against the records and streaks. So
AJ Brown, 6 games. Congratulations to AJ Brown, first wide receiver in NFL history to have 6 games in a row of over 125 receiving yards. Unbelievable. Like in a row. 6 consecutive games of 125 plus receiving yards. Last week it ended. Congrats to AJ Brown. He's just come on. Just give him a round of applause. Round of applause there. It's on Monroe St. Brown week. Yeah,
absolutely. I'll be on. All right. So when I look at this list right here, the top 4 guys on the obviously when nobody's starting Jefferson, he's not going to end up playing. But the first 4 guys on this list, I'm not touching them for the most part. When I say I'm not touching, that doesn't mean that I won't have them in 1 or 2 lineups, maybe somewhere, just to have a share. But it starts with St. Brown. That's where my list starts this week, and it goes down from there.
So I'm going to have some CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
It is very tough to deny the production this kid has had. I faded him in season long. It is very tough to deny what this kid has done the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It is very tough to deny it. And I'm just going to keep riding it. 7 targets, 7 receptions, 14 targets, 12 receptions, 16 targets, 11 receptions. That could have been a touchdown there at the end zone. That could be closer to 40 points?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fading CeeDee Lamb this week. I'm not doing it. But I would, if you had to ask me, CeeDee Lamb or St. Brown, It's St. Brown based on the game environment. Why based on the game environment? Because Dallas, if Pollard goes off and Lamb doesn't get there, then he doesn't get there. You know what I mean?
These two guys are two of the best wide receivers in the game right now. They really are. And, it's only a $200 difference, but I think that $200 difference is going to be a big points difference.
I agree with you.
I think St. Brown is just primed to go off this week. And I'm with you. Great game script and everything in that Dallas Giants game. I don't think this Lamb's going to have to be utilized nearly as much as he has been over the last 2 weeks. So, I'll probably be right back on him next week. But I like Brown, and if I'm looking at these guys, I'm going to take Brown and Evans.
I think Lamb's got a better shot at going off than Pollard. I'll say that.
Okay. No, I can respect that.
And that's my opinion. Now, ASB, we play. Lamb, we play. Jamar Chase has the questionable tag. We don't know if he's going to play. He most likely will play. A hobbled Chase, no thank you. I'm not playing a hobbled Chase.
No.
Houston could get Derek Stingley back too.
They're going to run a lot in that game. The aerial attack for Cincinnati, I'm just not going to be that on.
Can we just talk about the aerial attack for Cincinnati? Because I'm going to go and I'm going to tell you all about a little itty bitty type receiver called Andre Iosivas. It's Iosivas season. He's min price. You play Iosivas because he's a talented wide receiver. There's no T. Higgins. Don't give me this Trenton Irwin BS. Oh, but Adam, 2 targets, 1 target, 1 target, 1 target. Yeah. All 3 wide receivers healthy. Look who's caught the freaking touchdowns on 1 target, by the way. Look who's been the red zone threat. This is a talented kid, wide receiver out of Princeton. Very talented. Should be utilized. I will have a split between Trenton Irwin and Iosivas this week. Irwin is most likely who they're going to go with. I will have shots on Iosivas. I have no interest in anyone else.
Yeah,
I'm playing Tyler Boyd. I'm not going to be crazy. Like, you play Boyd.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be taking shots on Irwin and Iosivas 100%.
And to double up on that, if Chase, and he is an actual questionable right now, if he doesn't play, I'm all over Boyd. All over it. Because we've seen that script before.
Yep.
Ooh, remember last season? A game of his life.
If Chase is somehow out, I don't think he is. I think he plays. I think he does okay. I don't think he pays off 8,600. If Chase is out, there is a good chance the only value I have this week is Irwin and Iosivas. Because those two will be forced into roles where they have to do something. Anyway, I wanted to get those 2 value plays out of the way with. Let's talk about, Mike Evans, you play him. Ayuk?
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely. No, not this week. You've got
do you know why we're not playing Ayuk
Debo's
this
coming
week?
back.
No. Do you know why we're not playing Ayuk this week? When it's a team that plays a lot of zone defense, you play Debo. When it's a team that plays a lot of man coverage, you play Ayuk.
Yep.
Jacksonville apparently plays a lot of zone. That means that's a Debo week. We play Debo Samuel, and that's what we are doing.
Yeah, it was something like they play zone like 73% of the time or something like that, I think is what it was. So,
all right, I'm done talking. Let's go right into it. Washington's on slate. DK Metcalf, 6,800. Washington is one of the worst teams in the NFL versus perimeter wide receivers. It's a late game. It's part of a late game hammer. We're playing lots of DK Metcalf. Wake up, Charlie. We're talking about DK Metcalf. Let's go.
Hey, I like them both. I like Metcalf and Lockett this week.
No!
Can't go wrong with them. Either one of them. You can't go wrong
Metcalf
with
week!
Oh, I
Let's
think they're
go!
both. I think it's a good week for both of them. Metcalf is going to be better, priced up a little bit more than Lockett, but he's going to be he could have a monster game. I feel like they both have a really good game. And it's one of the reasons I don't like Kenneth Walker as much this week. There's a couple of reasons I don't like Kenneth Walker this much this week, even though he's a great football player. But I really like the passing game. I like the receivers. In Seattle, they're good plays this week.
I don't like hitting the lock button on players. I'm hitting the lock button on DK Metcalf.
Yeah, you can do that with Metcalf.
I've done it for Taylor. I've done it for Montgomery. I don't like doing it. But Metcalf, you can't ask for a better matchup than one of the worst teams in the NFL versus perimeter wide receivers at home. I love DK Metcalf this week.
Yeah, it's a good play. I really like it pairing him and Amar Rod. I think that's good.
There's a nice
good duo.
Yeah. And then you could play like an Irwin. You can play an Iosovas. You can play a Noah Brown. Bobby Trees. Like there is good value.
If Trees
plays, value.
If Trees plays, I'm not as high on Brown. If he doesn't, I really, really like Brown.
Yep. So let's keep talking about it.
Last week, I'm telling you, that kid's got some talent.
Yep.
We saw on Dallas. Maybe a good play this week. I like him in this price range.
So Godwin's fine. Olave, man, we're just waiting for that breakout week. It's
got to be coming, right?
It's got to be coming. Positive regression for Olave. He'll be back in my player pool this week. I want to continue to preface by saying the only two plays I'll have from the Cleveland and Baltimore game, assuming I'll have three, is Cooper, the Browns defense, and the Ravens defense. That's it.
Defenses. I may not have Cooper this week. He doesn't do as well on the road. He's one of those guys. He's like the Goff of wide receivers.
Yep. Debo week.
Yep.
6,200. It's Debo
Price
week.
Down a little coming off the injuries. That's a good play.
Yep. It's Debo week. Lockett's great. Kirk's great.
Yeah, I like
Hopkins. I'm going to have a ridiculous amount of because it's the Tampa Bay pass funnel. You continue to play wide receivers against Tampa. I thought they were getting better. Let's actually take a look at the stats. What are they doing against wide receivers? The Bucs are the third worst in the league versus opposing wide receivers. 1,659 receiving yards allowed and 10 touchdowns versus opposing wide receivers. They are allowing, on average, fantasy point per game on average on DraftKings. The Tampa Bay Bucs defense are allowing 45.7 DK points, second most in terms of average DK points allowed. Again, that's as an entire defense, not just anyone. That's as an entire defense. Hopkins is going to feast. He's been getting the lion's share of the targets from Will Levis. I don't know how you don't love DeAndre Hopkins in this spot. Like, how do you not?
He's a great play. He's a great play this week.
Yep. Addison, I think he's interesting, but I'm probably going to have too many guys in the 6K range to probably have any Addison. Also, shout out to Josh Dobbs for coming back and filling in. I mean, he gets traded, Tuesday?
Oh my
Plays
God.
on Sunday.
Crazy.
Leads the team back to victory. Has no idea even some of the players' names on that team.
Didn't know his center's name. Like, man, this guy's handing you the ball. You've got your hands in his butt. You don't know his name?
Remember a couple of years ago when Josh Dobbs came in for the Steelers and we're like, who the heck is this guy? He's not good. The dude's Look, I'm not saying he's an elite quarterback, but the dude is very serviceable. Like, if Jefferson comes back, this offense could be really interesting.
And dude's like super smart, dude. He's a rocket scientist. Like, literally a rocket scientist.
Interesting. I'm assuming you have interest in Terry McLaurin this week, yes?
Absolutely. Actually, matter of fact, I was just putting together a little lineup to see if I could get Evans, Metcalf, and Scary Terry all together as a trio. Because the more we're talking about it, I really like this Metcalf and come back with McLaurin and maybe stack old Terry with Sam Howell. I think that could be a good lineup. Yeah, man. They're not. I mean, Seattle's. They're not great against the pass, and in particular, uh, they're not great against wide receivers with McLaurin's skill set. I like
Yeah.
him to have a big game. I think Dotson could be in play if you want to save a little bit of money, but Scary Terry, he keeps on getting it done.
He keeps getting
And
targeted. He's getting the
yeah,
volume.
he's going to
Now,
get a touchdown this week.
Curtis Samuel could be back this week, so I'm not as interested in Dotson. So we need to see if Curtis Samuel is back. If Curtis Samuel is out, I have more interest in Dotson at 5K. But
Watson's been getting better too, though.
Yep.
He's getting back into that offense.
I'm going to have Calvin Ridley yet again. 5,600. Has to change around the situation soon. We said positive regression for Chris Olave. The question is, are we going to see positive regression to Calvin Ridley? 2 touchdowns on the season, 10 targets last week. He's too cheap. I'm playing Calvin Ridley this week. Tank Dell and Drake London are where we go next. Tank Dell is going to be the number 1 pass catcher with Nico Collins out for Stroud.
Yep.
Drake London is back. Too. Drake London is back for Atlanta. What are your thoughts on Drake London? I assume you're playing Tank Dell?
I'm playing Dell. Yeah.
What about Drake London at Arizona?
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not going to go with London this week. Now, every week that I have used him, he has paid off for me. I just don't feel like this is his week. Really don't. I know it's Arizona, but this game could be weird.
Very much so.
We'll see. I'm not. I want to see it from him. Let me see it. If he gets it done this week and I don't have him in a lineup, it's not going to hurt my feelings, but I'll probably be back on him next week.
There you go. I like London this week. He's probably going to be my initial player pool until I start whittling players down. Same thing with Deontay, 5,400. He'll be in my player pool. I want to play Dobbs and put him in my player pool. I can't trust Jordan Love right now. On the road at Pittsburgh. I can't trust it. Dotson, I'm interested in. Tyler Boyd, obviously. Rashid Shaheed, I'm interested in. Noah Brown is 3,700. If Robert Woods doesn't play, Robert Woods is 4K. I'm still probably taking shots on Noah Brown. I'd love Noah Brown a lot more if Robert Woods was out. Gallup, I think, is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
That's it.
Gallup's like that up and down, man.
Value this week is terrible. Value this week is terrible.
I do like Reed down in the 3,000.
Jaden Reed, 3,800.
Yeah. I do like him. I think it's a good way to save some money. If he gets a touchdown, which I feel like that may happen. He's gotten a few. It's a good matchup. They're looking better with Aaron Jones back. That opens up more for the passing game because it's actually a reliable running back. So I think that offense is going to steadily improve, at least for what it is. Not going to say that it's a great offense, but I like him. I think he's a sneaky cheap play. If he gets you a touchdown, he might win you some money.
Jaden Reed, got it.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for wide receivers for us. Let's get into tight ends here real quick. I apologize. I know we're running long. I'm not playing Mark Andrews this week. Man, I'm probably going to have a ridiculous amount of Sam Laporta. He's expensive, but he's worth it.
I love Sam Laporta.
He's
He's
just
such a great tight end, man.
He's getting targeted.
This is a football player. This is a football player right here. For real. This guy's fun to watch. He is talented. He gets it done. And he's a rookie.
If I were to tell you a player, $5,700, is getting 11 targets, 7 targets, and 10 targets in the last 3 games, and it was $5,700, no position, no name, just based on the target share, is that someone you're interested in playing?
At that price, yeah.
It's Sam Laporta. It's a tight end. But again, would you play a $5,700 wide receiver that's getting those kind of targets? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're getting 10 targets, heck yeah.
Absolutely. So Sam Laporta is a great play this week. TJ Hawkinson listed as questionable. Should play. If Hawkinson does not play, even more interested in Sam Laporta. What the heck are we doing with Dalton Schultz at 4,900?
So, okay, look, before we get down to Schultz, let me say this about Hawkinson.
Yeah. I was going to go back to you on your Hawkinson takes.
Okay, all right. I'll tell you what. Go ahead.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Make sure we're recording. TE1 on the week. Hawkinson. What quarterback in the NFL loves to throw to the tight end more than pretty much any other quarterback in the NFL? One, Mr. Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, we saw Chad McBride have a little bit of a breakout.
Getting an upgrade. How many? He caught 7 passes on 12 targets last week. He gonna get 15 targets this week. Hey, buddy.
And here comes one of your kiddos to talk about TJ Hawkinson.
Hey, can you say TJ Hawkinson? All right, go play, buddy. That's the little.
I didn't even hear what he said. He was like, "I'm on Ross St. Brown."
He goes, no.
Hawkinson is a 5K. This is, I think, one of the cheapest we've seen him all season.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest target. If Hawkinson plays, play Hawkinson.
Yep. That's what I'm doing. I'm playing him all over the place. I love Sam Laporta. I'll have him in there too.
Yep. Dalton Schultz.
Probably the 2 that I have the most interest in. Yeah, Schultz got a good matchup. Okay, so here, check it out. Schultz, right?
Schultz.
Houston and Cincinnati. No, I'm about to throw you way off. So I told you, I was building a lineup here, trying to see if I could get DK, Evans, McLaurin. Well, I got them and Samuel. I got Debo in there, along with Aaron Jones and Joe Mixon. I may flip somebody around and try to get another running back. But the way that I did it was on the other side of that game. Because Irv Smith Jr. is 2,700, and he's going to get more targets this week.
I'm fine with some Irv Smith.
I'd take either of the tight ends in this game. And I think, for decent money, Schultz is good. He's been really, really, really good. He's a really good tight end. And on the cheap, go right on the other side of that with Irv Smith.
Mm-hmm. Irv Smith is interesting as well. Ferguson, probably not. I wouldn't mind taking shots on Kyle Pitts, Gerald Everett. Trey McBride, I'm interested in with Kyler back.
Yeah.
May not overexert, do a lot of anything. Irv Smith, 2,700, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a very limited tight end player pool.
Yeah, those 4 or 5 guys, that's probably about it this week, really.
Yeah, it's...
Maybe Njoku. He might get opportunity. I mean, they're going to have to... Somebody's going to have to do something for Cleveland.
Yeah, we will see. All right, defense, Cowboys, duh.
I'm not sold on San Francisco's offense being the greatest right now.
Jags defense, 2,400.
The Jags almost average double-digit points on a game on defense. They got a sneaky good defense.
So
I'll take a chance on them because they're cheap, really cheap. They're about the cheapest. What is it, second to last? 2,400.
Yep.
That's another way that you can get a stack of really, really good wide receivers or running backs in there.
Yep. I think I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Cardinals defense is interesting.
I'm with you. Already have them in some lineups.
I've said it before.
I'm exactly hurting people.
Yeah, I've said it before. I'm playing the Browns defense and playing the Ravens defense. That's going to be I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest of a game. So, all right. Anything else? I apologize for rushing us through it quickly, but we are at an hour and 20 minutes, and we need to wrap this up.
Let's do it.
All right. 2 quarterbacks you like this week. Who you got?
Oh, it's Howell and Goff for me.
Howell and Goff? Excellent. Yeah. That means I got to give 2 different. So since we're both on Goff, I'm going to go with Stroud and Levis. Even though I like Baker Mayfield, but the more we've gone through this podcast, I think I'm switching off some Mayfield for some Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins stacks.
Yeah, I like that stack. If Levis can do it, he's going to do it in this game.
Mm-hmm. So we are both on Goff. All right. And I'm obviously both on Howell as well. So this is in case you're new, this is our pick'em segment where Charlie and I go over two picks each that we like. So 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a defense that we like. So we've given our quarterbacks, running backs. Who you got?
I really like Joe Mixon. I'm going to hammer that Joe Mixon this week. And then I am going to go with, scroll down there a little bit. Because,
yes,
I mean, we've talked so much about these other guys. So what I'm going to throw out there is probably going to take a chance on Jerome Ford.
Interesting.
Yeah. But obviously, the guys that we've talked about already, Mixon, Jones, Montgomery, I'm taking all of those guys over Ford.
Absolutely. So because I was going to say Montgomery and Jones for me. I mean, this is...
Yeah. I mean, it's Mixon and Jones for me, really. It really is.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Montgomery and Jones for me. Yeah.
So if you want to pivot, Ford might not be bad.
Yep. I mean, obviously, I'd probably just pay down for Najee Harris. So, all right. Now we got that under control. 2 wide receivers not named DK Metcalf.
Oh, yeah. All right. So let me give me some of that.
Because we're both on DK Metcalf. So let's
give me some of that Sun God. He's blowing up. Wide receiver 1 on the week.
There you go. Does that mean Metcalf's wide receiver 2?
And then I like Brown again this week.
Brown.
Get him in there. Cheap.
Hollywood Brown?
Huh? No, man. On Houston.
Oh, Noah Brown.
Yeah, Noah.
Excellent. So, yeah, I'm also on ASP this week. So I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb and Deebo Samuel. Obviously, we talked about DeAndre Hopkins. We've talked about DK Metcalf. We're not going to go with those again. Yeah, I assume you and I agree that those are arguably the 2 best wide receiver players on the slate.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Tight end you like? I think I know the 2 we're going with.
I mean, it's got to be Laporta and Hawkinson this year.
You got it. Pick one. Pick one. I'll pick the other.
Get you a little bit of Irv Smith in there.
There you go.
He's finally going to do the damn thing.
Yeah, it's Laporta and Hawkinson for us, and Irv Smith as well is fine.
Absolutely.
Defense. This is terrible. This is crazy to say, but if I can pay up and get the Cowboys defense, I'm going to pay up for the Cowboys defense this week.
You know what? I already said it. I'm gonna stick with it. Take a shot on Jacksonville's defense. They seem to do weird things.
Yep. I'm also going to go with the Browns defense at 3K if you want to get different off the Dallas defense and you want some, cheaper defenses. I like the Browns this week, arguably the best defense in the league right now on the road at Baltimore. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Charlie, any final thoughts before we get on out of here? I know it was a long pod.
It's been a long week. I don't want to think anymore.
There you go. This guy. All
Go
right, everyone. There you go. Enjoy the Patriots-Colts game or Colts-Patriots game. Patriots-Colts game Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. from Germany. Stay
Lots
safe.
of Belgian waffles.
There you go.
That's what we're having for breakfast.
Stay safe, everybody. Have a great weekend. Good luck on this slate. Latest, peoples.